It's exactly 6:15. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this edition of the Primetime Newscast in the English language on Canal International, and we begin with our top stories. Jealousy at its peak. A mother of three has been rendered homeless as boyfriend sets home ablaze. This incident occurred this Friday morning at the Mana neighborhood in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé. And as the registration deadline for Cameroon's electoral registers approaches, citizens are making the last-ditch effort to enroll. However, frustrations are mounting, maintaining a slow procedure, limited resources, and poor conditions continue to hinder the process. And we talk about the uncertainty that continues to prevail in the Lions' den as a list of players selected for the two AFCON qualifying matches remains hanging. This Friday, the coach of the indomitable Lions, Mark Breeze, was expected to grant a press conference at 12:30 p.m., but surprisingly, he didn't show up. Those are Good evening once more and welcome to this edition of the Primetime Newscast in the English language on Canal International. Jealousy at its peak. A woman, a mother of three, has been rendered homeless by a man she calls her boyfriend. The incident occurred this Friday morning at the Mana neighborhood in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé. At the time of the report, the firemen had arrived at the scene, but the flames had already done its worst. More with our reporter, Beatrice Ngam.
Lamenting on her faith this Friday morning, Anita's daily portion has been suffering, torture, battering since the day she met the father of her children. Through her call box business, she houses, feeds, and pays school fees for her children alone. After 3 kids, fruit of small marriage, Anita could not support it any longer, as threats are too much. To be separated from me, better, he kills me. All the time he places machete on my neck. Frightened by this latest development, and in a bid to save her life, she decided to get her own place here at Bilonopong, Emana, in Yaoundé. After a few search and research, the guy whose name we got as Abdullah found her with same hostility. Early this Friday morning of August 30th, he started again. She then ran away with her children. Abdullah then set the house ablaze. He stood his ground, stopping neighbors from putting off the flames. When the fire has gotten the roof, he took off. Anita is a tenant. The boyfriend has just set the house of another on fire.
C'est des locataires. Ils brûlent comme ça la maison de quelqu'un d'autre.
At the time the firemen arrived, all were ashes, but for a war still up, their wahala a neighborhood story. Everyone knows their situation.
Ça ne nous surprend pas parce que les deux font les problèmes tous les jours.
The head of the area, unfortunately, is learning about it just today. While Anita is crying her eyes out, thinking of how she and children are going to survive this new challenge, investigations has been opened on the matter.
And the current Mangamba-Ebonne stretch in the Lonaco subdivision, here in the littoral region, a vital itinerary for the transportation of fresh produce and cocoa from the region, remain nearly impassable despite multiple government-funded repairs. The persistent poor condition of the roads has frustrated inhabitants. More in the following story. The Mangamba-Ebonne road in the Mongo in the Lonaco subdivision, which serves as a critical route for the transportation of fresh produce, cocoa and coffee, is in a dire state. Despite several rounds of government funding aims at improving the road, it remains largely impassable, especially during the rainy season. The situation is causing significant hardship for the local population, particularly the traders and transporters who rely on these roads to sustain their livelihoods. On a typical day, the scorching sun may dry out parts of the roads, creating a deceptive layer of tar, but the numerous potholes and severely dilapidated bridges pose a constant risk. Transporters and traders who use these roads are increasingly concerned about the safety and reliability of their journeys. Many have reported the dire consequences of attempting to navigate the roads during bad weather, with vehicles frequently becoming stuck or damaged.
Go farm driver, me can't carry a chop for farm. They ask you 60,000, 80,000 for every time. I think the people give 10,000, they pull you for half.
The situation is so severe that traders and transporters often spend 2 or 3 days on what should be a short journey as they struggle to navigate the treacherous conditions. In some cases, vehicles are forced to drive through the waterlogged sections due to the extremely poor state of the bridges. This road is not just a local concern, it is a lifeline for several villages across multiple subdivisions, including the Kam, Sanaga Maritime and Mongo divisions. The local population is now sending out a desperate plea to the nation's leadership, urging them to take immediate action to improve the roads. And now let's turn our attention to the entrance of the city of Duala, specifically to Carrefour Music in Bonaberi, Duala for a municipality. Yet the roads are in a state of severe disrepair. Our reporter, Lato Cynthia, reports.
A dangerous overtaking maneuver nearly ended in a disaster as this motorcycle driver found himself at the foot of a truck while trying to avoid a water-filled pothole. We are at the Carrefour Music in Bonaberi, Duala, where navigating the routes has become a daily ordeal.
The route is not more passing. The route is more passing. That's the problem that we have.
Too much accident. Just people are just sliding anyhow and falling now in the mud. There's too much accident. About this route, it's very tough here. These are roads, the one we are passing every day. To leave the house and come here, you must change at least 2 shoes before you come and reach. And before you reach, you must wash your leg to remain clean. You see now, everywhere is just bad. No way, people even pass in front of our shop before they go to their various places.
Commercial activities in this area of the economic capital are severely affected. Business operators express frustration over slow returns.
The route is really, really bad. We've been suffering here for long, and I don't really know what to say. But if I can tell you, we have more than 4,000 stores here, and those people are paying their tax. No one is able to sell because they don't have route.
And that is the problem, because when the route is fine, everything can move well. So that is why everything is not moving well.
Population is calling on authorities to take urgent action to improve their daily lives.
We have been trying to write the government to come and help us here. We believe the government can really come and help us.
They should please arrange a route for us so that everything should be perfect.
While they await government intervention, the residents of Carrefour Music continue to endure the harsh consequences of these dilapidated road conditions.
As the registration deadline of August 31 approaches, Cameroonians are making the last-ditch effort to enroll themselves on the electoral registers. However, frustration are mounting as slow procedures, limited resources, and poor conditions still hinder the process. As the clock ticks down to mark the end of voter registration in Cameroon, latecomers are scrambling to secure their space on the electoral roll. In the Lekam 2 branch office, large crowds have gathered only to be met with a sluggish registration process, further aggravated by inadequate resources. The process is really slow. They have just a few personnel to attend to the crowd, adding to just the one kit machine. It makes registration slow and painful, but we are obliged to wait. Eyewitnesses reported that long lines and a palpable sense of frustration as citizens braved the elements standing in queues under the rain. People are not well received here. No cheers, absolutely nothing. We are focused to wait in long queues under the rain just because we must vote. Again, just one machine to register the crowd. I had been coming here, and each time they send you to the spot where nothing is happening. When asked why they waited until the last minute to register, responses varied. Some cited overwhelming work commitments, while others pointed to a belief that late registration would avoid crowds.
Je ne voulais pas venir tôt, pourquoi? Parce que je me disais que c'était tellement saturé.
I did not register early because I was saturated with work. But I thought at the last minute I would find no crowds. But it's the contrary.
Ouais. C'est pas chose facile.
We want change. We have supported a lot of things. Reason why we are braving the odds to register. It should be recalled that registration on the electoral register opens in January and is set to close on August 31, 2024. With just a short time left, the rush is on, but many are finding the process more challenging than anticipated. And in Bangante, in the west region of Cameroon, approximately 5,826 people have registered on recent months on the electoral rolls. This represents a rate of 62.76% of the local population. Electoral council members who made the assessment in a tour in the Day Division. More with our reporter, Lato Cynthia.
8 months after the opening of registration for the electoral rolls, it is time for an assessment in certain elections offices in Cameroon. This is the case in Bagante in the West region. Electoral council members during the day have conducted an annual review of registrations, revealing that approximately 5,826 people have registered in recent months, representing a rate of 62.76% of the local population. Overall, the result is satisfactory. We congratulate all the members of the Mixed Commission of the West region who worked hard for us to record this result. We also thank political parties who have accompanied EDECAM in its objectives. According to council members, the involvement of political parties, local elites and grassroots awareness campaigns have significantly impacted community mobilization. However, lack of national identity cards and birth certificates has posed challenges. This year, the youth want to enroll, but they are challenged because they don't have identity cards, no birth certificates. We are not encouraging them. Latecomers are still expected at the various municipal offices in the Day Division before the registration deadline on Saturday, August 31, 2024 at 2 p.m.
And as the August 31 deadline for registration on the electoral register approaches, Elecam intensifies efforts to register voters by bringing the registration process to their doorsteps. The initiative targets the Bonaberi neighborhood here in Cameroon's economic hub, Duala. More in the following story. It's challenging to assess the interior of these residents, but that doesn't deter the residents. Elecam is warmly welcome at the doorstep at this home at the Beseke area in Bonaberi within Duala 4 district.
It is a very good move because it permits the population to gather and register on the electoral list.
From neighbors and other residents of the community, the initiative by Elections Cameroon to visit homes is both encouraging and motivating.
It is great as many did not have time to reach the camp's office. It also encourages those who had no intention to register to do so.
Many late registrants have shown up to take advantage of this final push. The reasons for their delay in registering vary, but are well understood.
I was not in a good health condition. I was in the hospital. I'm coming here at the last minute because I was not feeling well. Else I would have registered since the beginning of August. I am here at this time because I have been busy.
Finally, with registration completed, they can carefully store away their receipts, breathing a sigh of relief. Now all that remains is to head to the polls when the time comes. The 2017 HIV/AIDS survey, months another health survey, has been launched as a means of directing the U.S. government's emergency fund for AIDS relief in the country. The government has assured youths of 15 years and above that commercial sex workers will contribute the bulk of the respondents, that the results will remain confidential. More with our student journalist on internship, Lato Cynthia, Annie Collins Annie.
The people of the Northwest region have been called upon to open up to personnel of an HIV/AIDS survey that begins in the Cameroon population-based HIV impact assessment aimed at knowing
the necessary information. You are better sent to take their samples and verify if they are infected or not, to allow us to suppress HIV infection in Cameroon.
From the multiple presentations, the campaign is an initiative of the American President's Health Emergency Fund to combat HIV/AIDS according to the interest manifested by the Cameroon government. Out of the 5 African countries involved, it is only in Cameroon that a local NGO will be conducting the findings.
It will help in that it will aid the Ministry of Health in its strategic planning, because they have to do targeted planning to look at the areas where we still have high HIV infections, and they will target and put in more resources there to be able to bring the epidemic under control.
With the technical support of the National Institute of Statistics and the titular Ministry of Public Health, the surveyors will interview young persons of at least 15 years old and commercial sex workers, amongst others, within the next 5 months. The results will help redirect American support to Cameroon in the health domain. To recall that, the last survey took place in 2017, during which the Northwest region had a 5.1% HIV prevalence rate.
And it sports the 20th edition of the Honorable Richard Walang Unity Tournament has taken place in Wombe, with GMB FC lifting the coveted trophy after beating Damba Lewat FC by 7-6 after post-match penalty shootouts. A ceremony that brought together thousands of people. Menchum SDO representing the Northwest Governor. Lato Cynthia, Annie Collins Annie.
The population of the Menchum South constituency, comprising Menchum Valley and Wombe Central Subdivision, have been reiterated the need for peaceful cohabitation with one another. This was at the close of 6-month-long sport activities, with General Modern Bakery having a narrow lead over Damba Lewat FC 7-6. The young Damba Lewat boys forced their visibly older opponent to a virgin tie during the regulated 90 minutes before the unpredictable penalty, where General Modern Bakery took a 1-goal edge over Damba Lewa. Above all, it is the spirit of unity that triumphed, as denoted on the name of the tournament.
Our fertilizer for the future. And back to school is coming. And you know the context of which we find ourselves. If we don't keep these youths that they should be occupied, we'll run into problems.
Handing over the trophy on behalf of the governor on the eve of the new school year, Menchum SDO delivered the governor's message.
We are seeking also every time the opportunity to tell the students by saying that after joy, they have also to think about study, who is important for their future.
There is no place in the world where there is no problem, and there is no place in the world where you will not prepare the youth who are the future leaders.
Huge crowd indicative of progressive return to come. Wombe, the divisional headquarters, is poised to boom again in sociocultural activities.
And we stay in sports to talk about the match between Cameroon and the Namibian side. And uncertainty continues to prevail in the Lions' den as the list of players selected for the two AFCON qualifying matches remains hanging. This Friday, the coach of the Indomitable Lions, Mark Brice, was expected to grant a press conference at 12:30 p.m. But surprisingly, he didn't show up. A press conference he said to have scheduled himself after visiting the federation earlier at about 10:30 a.m. though citing illness to cancel the press conference at 12 noon at the Fecafoot Conference Hall in Yaoundé. Just 55 minutes later, he reappeared at the federation's headquarters, went straight to the General Secretariat for a discreet meeting with the Secretary General. The press was gathering again for the press conference. Mark Brice emerged from the General Secretariat where he spent about 25 minutes and left the premises, leaving the national and international press in a more confused state. Cameroon hosts Namibia in a week for the first day of the 2025 Morocco AFCON qualifiers. The official list of the selected Indomitable Lions for the preparatory training has not yet been made public. However, the players' gathering is scheduled to start this weekend, and with the battle over Garoua or Yaoundé to host the match, it's still unclear where the players will be camping. And that's how we saw it on this edition of the Primetime Newscast in the English language on Canal International. Coming up next is the brief with Matthew Fangwa. Good night.
Canal International.